we're going to look into Copenhagen, creative Copenhagen. And with me, I have three people, two here in the studio and one online. I just want to make sure that we have also the one come in from Zoom. It's Ida Åsle. She's with byFounders. Do we have her? Yes, she's also there. I'm lucky to have with me from Copenhagen Capacity, Lisa Mallner, and from Copenhagen Business Hub, Morten Kolberg. And let me start out with you, Lisa. So now you heard me talk about a little bit about Copenhagen, Creative Copenhagen. You work with investment opportunity for Copenhagen Capacity. Can you tell me a bit more? Why should a startup from abroad consider Copenhagen as the place to start, or not start, but grow its business?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say if you are a startup and you're watching this right now, just in case you don't know, Copenhagen Capacity offers completely free services to help you establish yourselves here. So if you are actually considering that, we're the people to reach out to, and we're really happy to help. Now you have the really critical question, why would any company want to start here or to scale here to begin with? Well, first of all, why wouldn't you? I mean, this is the happiest country in the world. We have one of the best work-life balances. We have a great environment for innovation. We are always ranked highly when it comes to innovation, when it comes to high-level talent, and when it comes to things like salaries, which people are always interested in when they're relocating. So if you are looking for a location that's in the Nordics but well connected to Europe, if you're looking for a location where you can live a happy and fulfilled life, there's really no better place than Copenhagen.
So it's a good life here. It's a balanced life, and it's where you can. I've seen this Kolberg commercial where it says ding 4 o'clock and everyone goes home. So actually, we're going to end this at 4 o'clock, not at 5 o'clock. No.
Well, let me put it this way. I'm from the U.S., so Danish people, they're not allowed to brag. So I can brag for you. It's really nice. It's not just probably the best place. It is.
That's good. Where are you from in the U.S.?
New York.
New York. So you know how the tough life is. But so Lisa, how many startups? What is the interest from startups coming here? Is it the good life, or is it to find the investor? What is the motivation mainly that you find from foreign startups?
I mean, just to clear the elephant in the room, I don't think many startups here are coming for the investment ecosystem, especially because we do have Stockholm right above us.
Yeah.
But many people are coming here. First of all, because maybe they're in a certain industry where we are number one. A lot of people know Danish design. They might be interested in things like sustainability. They might be interested in things like pharmaceuticals. So if you're looking at some of these leading industries, this is the place to be. And secondly, maybe they like sunlight. Maybe they're looking for a city that's more connected in terms of other places to Europe and close to an airport, and things that are a little bit more soft in terms of the work-life balance.
Yeah. It's true that you said sunlight, but right now, I think the sun sets around 3 and goes up around 9, but of course that turns around completely. And when we have our big event end of June, it will be getting up at 4:30 and settling at 10 or so. So it does reverse itself, just so you guys know that it is actually a different story in the summer. But it's true, what design, we have a great tradition, or we used to have at least a great tradition. But maybe most of the startups coming here are coming here for some of the other strengths. We are strong in pharmaceuticals, as you mentioned, medtech, and we're strong in maybe also food, some food business. We have Arla, that's one of the big ones. I see that I'm getting mic'd up, re-mic'd up again. I hope this is all okay with you. We're working out of this.
We're getting very good at hardware,
We're getting good at hardware too. That as well. Great. Morten Kolberg from Copenhagen Business Hub. So tell me a bit more. You've been around the Copenhagen Business Hub for about 6 months or so?
That's right. Yeah. Only 6 months.
Yeah.
Coming in directly from the street, directly into a coronavirus.
Yeah.
Into an empty office.
Okay.
It was a really special situation.
So you're working from home then?
Yes. We're all sent home right now. So we're working from home, all of us. I'm representing the public sector. Yeah. So we are right now forced to work from home.
Okay. But you've been working, and Copenhagen Business Hub is working on also, not so much as Copenhagen Capacity in attracting, but you're more at helping those that are here, right?
Exactly. This is where we are different here. So you help people typically coming to Denmark, while once they're here, we try to make sure that we can offer them something that will make them grow. So, and representing the public sector, then we need to move into a business where we need to have proposal. You have to have services and offerings for every kind of businesses. We cannot say no to anything. And a part of that, I must say that especially entrepreneurship and startup is something from a political point of view is really interesting. This is where you put in a lot of efforts. And just before coming here, I was trying to look at some of the numbers. When we look at the entrepreneurs, we had more just this year, even during a crisis and pandemic situation, we had more than 1,100 people coming through our pipeline for entrepreneurship. And we are working with more than 2,000 companies per year, trying to help them grow, trying to bridge all the opportunities that we see in the public sector, bridge them together with the private sector, and making sure that people have the best opportunity to grow.
But what kind of help do these startups need? Because I know that we're maybe Estonia beats us, but we're pretty digitized. So once you have your NemID, which is this little card you need to get on the banks and everything, you can start a company right away, and you can pay the VAT, and all that can be done seamlessly in online. So what do you do?
That's really good. I think coming from abroad and trying to enter our society that is so highly digitized, one thing is that it's easy to work with, that's for true, but you need network, you need to understand the Danish culture, you need to find out how to operate business in Denmark. And this is where we come in. We offer both the massive network that our people working for us has right now. So that meaning connecting you to other networks, connecting you to private people that could offer you right services, could help you grow, connect you to people or offerings within the public sector, making sure that you can see all the opportunities that are available in the Danish society coming from abroad. I think one of the things that we see often is that even though that we are the happiest world in the world, right, the happiest people in the world, and I fully agree with that, and we have a wonderful country. I don't think being a Dane, and maybe you can acknowledge that, I don't think that we as a people is the most easiest one to approach. We are, as a general rule, a little bit shy. We are a little bit polite. Reserved, that's a good word. So you need to figure out how to cooperate with Danes.
But we're also pretty direct. I've heard that many people have a problem with our directness. What do you say? We should ask a foreigner here, Lisa. Has that been this shy wild, I suppose it is, the characteristics, and on one hand being reserved, on the other hand sometimes being extremely direct? It must be difficult for a foreigner to handle.
Well, I think if you're a foreigner and you're learning about not just Denmark but the Nordics, you probably have read that the secret sauce here is actually trust.
Oh yeah.
Right? And that's really the underlying cause of, are people a little bit shy? Are they a little bit reserved? Are they too direct? I think it's because if they trust you, there's very little friction when it comes to doing business, but they have to trust you first. And that's why maybe it can be hard to do a cold approach or to just reach out if someone doesn't know you, because you're a stranger, they have no trust. But if they do trust you, they will not waste your time, with petty flattery or anything like that.
Okay. So then you get it straight as they think it. I understand that my sound kept falling out, but also that let's just test if we have Ida Åsle from byFounders with us now. Can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Great. There is a voice. This is like, for some of you that remember Muppet Show, and there was this operating room, they would go, yes, there's someone here. Ida, welcome. You are with us from the Zoom, but tell us a bit about byFounders. First of all, we would like to know more about what that is all about.
Absolutely. So thanks for inviting me to this. As you said, I represent byFounders, which is an early stage tech VC, Nordic, investing in Nordic and Baltic founders. So we typically invest at seed stage out of our 100 million euro fund. The unique thing about byFounders, so we're based in Copenhagen, but we are active all over the Nordics and Baltics. And we have this group of 62 all serial entrepreneurs who have all been through the journey of starting, scaling, and also exiting their own companies. And so they are highly competent founders in all respects. And they help us and the small team that we are in byFounders, the core team, with everything from finding good companies to look at, to evaluate deals, and to work with our portfolio companies after we've invested. So to date, we have invested in 29 companies, and we are still going strong. So if there are anyone who is on that level here today, Nordic or some founders with some connection to the Nordics that are at seed stage with a software-driven business model, then we're interested in talking.
Excellent. So these are just to reiterate, these are all founders, so entrepreneurs that have actually made a business, sitting on some money. So in other words, if you get the interest from byFounders, you're not only getting money, which is always nice to grow, but you're also getting the experience. You're also getting someone that knows something. So they will not just give you some cash and then let you work with it. They're going to be highly involved, I suppose.
Yes, exactly. So we like to think that we are very active investors. We go in, we don't decide what our founders should do. We always entrust the founders to steer the ship. That is why we invest in founders first and foremost. This is the most important aspect we look at when we make an investment decision, whether the founders are someone we believe can take this to a huge success. But then we also want to give them the resources to do that. So we enable them through the support of highly skilled operational expertise.
Excellent. And you said Nordic Baltics in the first round, and then you said Nordics in the second round. So the Nordics, just for everyone, that's Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland. And the Baltics, that's usually Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia, or actually Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania in that order. I suppose that's how you kind of group it, right? So these are startups from these markets are relevant. So of the 29 investments you have made so far, and byFounders have been around for what, 3 years or so?
Yeah, we've been investing for 3 years, yeah.
Yeah. So of the 29 companies, how many of those would you characterize as creative in the sense that they are from either gaming or music or movies or fashion or architecture, mobility, smart cities, that kind of area?
It's interesting you're asking, because when I was invited to this, I was a little bit unsure as to what you would classify as a creative startup. I think it's absolutely true. When we make investments into the companies that in fact can be classified as such, we did never consider them to be creative startups. So when you say it, it's almost as if you think, oh, that's not actually our focus, but yes, it is. So we have made 5 investments in the gaming space, for example. We have a very strong group of some of the strongest gaming profiles from the Nordics and Baltics, again, in our collective, as I spoke about before, including people like David Helgason from Unity and Timo Soininen of Small Giant Games. So through them and the number of other profiles, they help us identify very strong gaming companies. So we have made a few bets there, still early days for most of them, but very exciting and definitely an interest area of ours. Then we've been looking a bit into fashion tech, especially on the sort of impact side. So when we are looking at fashion tech, what we like to see is any company that addresses some of the massive issues that fashion tech is or fashion as an industry is causing. As I'm sure you're all aware, it's one of the biggest, one of the industries with the biggest environmental footprint. So anything that can limit that in some way, we have, for example, subscription-based clothing. There's new materials made in innovative, less polluting ways. There is supply chain innovation. All of these things are super interesting to us. And then lastly, there are a number of cool companies in the music scene as well. We haven't actually made any bets there yet. But of course, Spotify is the big name there. And also there's companies like Epidemic Sound and others kind of also making huge successes for the investors that have been part of that. So definitely something we're open to.
I can tell for investors out there, if you're interested in that, for example, fashion tech, that we have since 2013 had some really interesting startups in the Creative Business Cup, which is the competition that Creative Business Network runs. We had in 2013 Orange Fiber from Italy. They work with orange pulp and make it into fiber, into textiles. They're working now with Ferragamo, so they're going for it. We also have Alga Life in 2017 from Israel. They're using algae from the oceans, making that into textile. They won here first in Copenhagen at the City Hall, and then they went on to H&M to win their big sustainability prize. And we've had also Red Button from Nigeria that works with these water lilies. So really a product that no one really uses or take care of, waste product, and makes that into textile and fashion that is really good. So if you're looking for that, that's interesting. And also I can recommend for all of you investors out there to hang on when Stefan Alfsson comes on from NARC from Iceland. That is the next EVE Online that we will see soon coming up. So anyway, that's in about 6 minutes. So now back to both Morten, Lisa, and Ida. So Copenhagen again. We're talking about this wonderful city of, what is it, 1.5 million people or so, that you can have a good work-life balance, and it's true. I had some friends that came here. Either their parents came here from Japan because they knew that the furniture manufacturing or designers were so impressive that they would take the whole family from Japan in the 60s and come here and settle. And I also had some Americans move here simply because they were so impressed by how design was democratic, that the co-op, the big retailer, actually was the co-financer of Børge Mogensen and lots of the chairs that we have. But these are all examples from the past. What do we have for now? What do we have besides, we have Woodwood, and we have these artists that are also designers, and that crossover. But what do we have today? We have about 5 minutes to cover that issue. Lisa?
What type of creative businesses are we seeing today?
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that you said all these were in the past, because Ida, you were mentioning gaming, and I can think of quite a few really interesting movements that have been happening here with things like esports and XR, which are really, you can't see them anyplace else in the world. So it's surprising it's being innovated here. I guess we've all been sitting inside in the winter, innovating. And I would also say in the creative industry, I agree with you, Ida. I think we're seeing a lot of movement with this agricultural technology is almost moving into fashion tech, right? There's a strange fusion going on, which is really quite exciting.
And you, Morten, do you see any? I know.
I was just thinking about the same, and it depends on definitions, but giving also, I think we should look into also what's happening within the food. Yeah, just being, we are really doing something of difference here, coming from a Danish point of view, and we are running right now some of the programs with the accelerators for food startups, and the changes that are going on there with the new vegan approaches, and these will be the ones defining the new generation. These will be the ones that we will look back on and say, this is where it all begun. And I think there is a lot of cradle going on, trying to make sure that these can grow rapidly.
I remember in 2014 we had a Chinese startup that used potato flour and tried to convince the Chinese to use potato flour in desserts, for example, and in general to use potatoes. Because if the Chinese all started skipping rice and eating potatoes instead, it would have a huge impact on the environment. I don't know how far he got with that, but it's true that there's a lot of stuff going on that's in the food sector with both the vegan movement and vegetarianism, etc., but also just new ways of consumption and new ways of also resourcing or sourcing in.
Just by definition, using sustainability as an approach for developing new business model, it will be everywhere, and we will see that in the coming years.
And Ida, of the 29, how many of those are here from Copenhagen? Lisa just mentioned that it couldn't be for the investors, because then you would go to Stockholm. There you have all the hardcore investors, and if you're an ed tech startup, you'll definitely go to Helsinki. That's where everything is happening in ed tech and in innovation in that field. So of the 29, is Copenhagen still, or is it the past?
Copenhagen is definitely not the past. I'm very happy to say that. Exactly how many of our companies, I'd say 1/3 probably, is based here in Copenhagen, if not a little bit more. So quite a bit, but I would actually say, and I heard no one would come to Copenhagen for the investment. I think that is absolutely changing for two reasons, actually. The first one being that we are going through these strange times, right, where things are actually moving online to a degree we have never seen before. So all of our first pitch meetings that we have with companies these days happen on Zoom. So whether they're in, Sweden or Finland or the US or Germany, as long as they have the Nordic connection that we require, it doesn't matter where they are. And the other investors are thinking the same way. So that is one thing. The other thing is that a number of investors who are not currently typically based in the Nordics, or at least not outside of their home country, are looking to set up shop in Copenhagen, or at least looking at being way more active here. And the reason for that is that simply Sweden is very saturated. They have a very high level of competition between funds. Also from, the international investors are looking to Sweden increasingly. The same is a little bit true in Finland as well. So there you have Denmark being ahead of Norway, being the most attractive kind of hub to then establish oneself in. So I've spoken to 2 VCs actually within the past 6 months who are looking to actually establish themselves in Copenhagen. So I would say these things are also changing for the better for Danish entrepreneurs. And also we're very happy to see that at byFounders, of course, because we see that as complementing our own efforts rather than just competing.
That's good. That's excellent. Yeah, many, this of course, co-investing is important because it kind of both makes sure that the risk is diluted, but also the expertise that you can bring in that sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We have spent now 20 minutes discussing investment opportunities in Copenhagen. So thank you a lot to Lisa Mallner from Copenhagen Capacity, Morten Kolberg from Copenhagen Business Hub, and to Ida Åsle from byFounders. Thanks a lot for tuning in on this Creative Business Investor event happening. So thanks a lot.